everyone, this is lesson 3.4, language plasticity and the split brain. The objective for today is that by the end of the lesson, you'll be able to analyze the brain's ability to take on multiple functions by analyzing language plasticity and split brain functioning. So the first part that we're going to talk about is language. And the cool part about language is that it involves so many different parts of your brain. But there are two main areas that we are going to focus on today. So the reason why it involves so many different areas of the brain is because we have parts that are functioned most with listening of language, when you speak a language, when you write a language, when you read a language. And all of those different functions involve different parts of your brain. So if one part of your brain is damaged, you can still understand language using other parts of your brain. But the two main areas that focus with language is the Broca's area, and this is language expression. And this is coming from the left frontal lobe. Sorry, my picture cut off the L there, but it's right in this area. So it's the part of the frontal lobe just below the motor cortex. The second area is the Wernicke's area, and this is language reception, which is why it's right next to the temporal lobe or right next to the auditory cortex. Is because when you speak to me, the fact that I can receive and understand the language you're speaking to me is in the Wernicke's area. Now, aphasia is when we have an impairment to our language due to some type of brain damage. But like I said, what we see in people that suffer brain damage in parts of the language areas is that other parts of the brain can kind of rewire itself and still help you understand language. It may not be the same way that you did before, but because so many different parts of your brain are involved in language, even if you damage one part of it, another part of it can still function normally. A lot of that is due to this idea of plasticity. So we have Homer here, who is not our best example of plasticity. And the reason why is because in this picture, his brain is super small. Plasticity is the brain's ability to modify after it's damaged. So something to be aware of when your brain is damaged, once a neuron is damaged, that neuron can no longer be fixed. That's it. One shot, one neuron. Can't fix the neuron. However, your brain can reorganize itself. So let's say there's a part of your brain that is damaged or a neuron that is damaged. Your brain has learned how to rework itself to go around that damaged part. Now, obviously, it depends on the severity of the damage. If the brain is severely damaged, it can't do that. But it does have that ability. In neurogenesis is this idea that we found in monkeys when studying monkey brains, that they are actually regenerating new neurons. And so, yes, you may damage neurons, but there is a way to generate new neurons. And this is really fascinating to scientists on how our brain could potentially do this and what this could mean for people that suffer from major brain traumas. Now, right brain versus left brain. You may have heard a little bit about this, like, oh, I'm better at math, I'm better at English, I'm right-brained, I'm left-brained, and there is some theory behind that. You have the corpus callosum, which connects your right brain to your left brain. It's a very, very thick band of fibers that goes in between the two, and this is how the messages get sent back and forth. Two psychologists, Sperry and Gazzaniga, I know I'm not saying that right and I apologize, did research on split brain for epileptic patients. So what happened was they realized that if the brain couldn't communicate with the other half, that could slow down seizures for people that suffered from severe epilepsy. And they were correct. For people that suffer from severe epilepsy, if you cut the corpus callosum of their brain, their epileptic seizures do in fact decrease. And for the most part, they can function somewhat normally. However, there are some difficulties when you cut your brain in half. Part of that is with vision. The way vision works is anything in your left visual field, so for example, in this case, you're the cat, or anything on your left side, is viewed by the right half of each eyeball. So follow the red lines here. So each eyeball sees the cat, but only the right half of that eyeball is what sees the cat. And that's processed on the right side of your brain. For the dog, that is in your right visual field. So anything off to your right-hand side is in your right visual field. It is viewed by the left side of your eyeballs, and therefore processed by the left side of your brain. So, whatever comes in on the left side of your eyeballs is seen on the left side of your brain. Whatever comes in but the right side of your eyeballs is on your right side of your brain. The crossover happens out in the visual field. So, the right side of each eyeball is viewing things off to the left. The left side of each eyeball is viewing things off to the right. When you cut and do a split brain, they can still see both items, but language is in the left side of your brain. So if you ask the person if they saw a cat, because that is being processed on the right side of the brain, they will say, no, we don't see a cat, we only see a dog. But if you ask them to point to a cat or point to what they saw, we don't want to be there yet. They will in fact point to a cat. Another example. Take a look at this and look directly in the middle, look right in between, and then think about which face do you think looks happier, A or B. If you said B, you are with the majority of individuals. The reason being, the left side of B's face is being processed by your right side of your eyeballs. Okay? So, left side of the face is being processed by the right side of the eyeballs, which means that that information is being processed on the right side of your brain. The right side of your brain is triggered for emotion. This side of his face or her face is partially smiling. So this part right here is really what you're seeing when you look at both of these, and I'm asking you that question, which face looks happier? It's triggering the emotion. Right brain versus left brain. I hate to get too specific on this because your brain does so much and it can go back and forth. But generally speaking, the left side of your brain is responsible for spoken language and math. So kind of that more mathematical reasoning side is on the left side of your brain, as well as the spoken aspect of language. The right side of your brain, we tend to see a little bit more creativity, emotion, and your ability to make inferences is on the right side of the brain. So that explains why when we look at this picture, this side of the face that we process on the right side of our brain triggers an emotion of happiness. And that is it for today.